The 2017 total solar eclipse. Presented by Science at NASA. On August 21st, 2017, the shadow of the moon will sweep across the U.S. landscape, transforming day to twilight. In the surreal gloaming of an eclipse, the temperature drops, birds go silent, crickets begin to chirp, and blossoms start to close. As this scene plays out across a 70-mile wide path of totality from coast to coast, a continent-spanning wave of instruments, ranging from homemade pinhole cameras and certified eclipse safety glasses to the most sophisticated telescopes in operation today, will be trained on the eclipse across America. Just before totality, a point of glistening sunlight is visible, making the moon look like a diamond ring. Then, as that drop of sunlight shines through rugged valleys on the moon's limb, tiny points of light called Baily's beads appear like a string of beads around the vanishing edge of the sun. But best of all are the pearly white streamers that emanate all around the dark disk at totality. Scientists eagerly anticipate this eclipse for the unique science opportunities it provides. Alex Young, NASA's Associate Director for Heliophysics at the Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, says, "This will be the first total eclipse to span the U.S. since 1918, and scientific instruments have come a long way. The event presents a perfect opportunity to shed light on phenomena such as solar flares and coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, billion-ton clouds of magnetized plasma ejected from the sun. To learn about their dynamics, researchers must study a region of the sun that reveals itself during an eclipse, the corona. Solar telescopes can create artificial eclipses using disks called coronagraphs," explains Young. Unfortunately, man-made coronagraphs also block the sun's inner corona, where CME eruptions originate. Fortunately, during a total eclipse of the sun, the moon makes a better coronagraph. At totality, the sun's inner corona appears in clear detail. Totality lasts mere minutes at any one location, but the Citizen Kate experiment will be positioning 68 identical telescopes across the country in the path of totality. The combined network will capture 93 minutes of images and will show changes in the solar atmosphere. Matt Penn, astronomer at the National Solar Observatory in Tucson, Arizona, says, "The telescopes will be operated by a variety of volunteers, ranging from middle school students to retired scientists and everyone in between." Meanwhile, NASA planes will photograph the sun, and a cadre of balloons will be floating near the edge of space to observe the eclipse. You can watch, too, live from the balloons on August 21st at eclipse.stream.live. The terrain and weather are quite varied across the U.S., and the moon shadow will briefly change the climate in each locale, sometimes with drastic drops in temperature within seconds to minutes. Young reminds everyone to be safe. Solar filters, such as eclipse glasses, are necessary to look at the sun directly. If you're in the narrow path of totality, you can safely remove your solar filter when the moon completely covers the sun. However, when the moon moves off the center of the solar disk, even a little, the sun's blinding surface reappears, and you should once again use your solar filter. NASA has a whole web page devoted to safety tips. eclipse2017.nasa.gov/safety. Many people don't know that the moon's orbit is slowly spiraling outward due to tidal forces. In about 600 million years, the moon will appear too small in the sky to fully cover the sun. Every solar eclipse is counting down to the last one. Young says, "We live in a fortunate time." For NASA's live coverage of the eclipse, go to www.nasa.gov/eclipselive. For total coverage of NASA science, visit science.nasa.gov.
August 21st of 2017, that's the day that Southern Illinois will plunge into darkness for several minutes, midday during what's being called the Great American Eclipse.
Carly O'Keefe talked to the people counting the days until the sun goes dark.
Look at that! Corona! Totality!
At 35,000 feet, Mike Kentrianakis just couldn't contain his excitement.
Totality! Oh my God, look at those streamers!
The view from his window seat on Alaska Airlines Flight 870 showed a rare, total solar eclipse.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Listening to it, I couldn't believe what I was saying. I even laughed and I said, wow, I heard my voice breaking. A total solar eclipse can take you away. It's an emotional experience.
Mike's enthusiasm proved contagious, and his videos since gone viral.
Look at that!
I was narrating over the video. Prominence's totality. I've got everyone the world over making fun of me, and I've had people contact me worldwide saying, "Is that you, Mike?" They sense the excitement. The video itself, it's hard to show an eclipse. There is no video that can do it.
But Gallatin County High School teacher and filmmaker Lindsay Adams is trying to do just that. She booked a seat on that March 8th flight and kept her camera rolling.
This is the second time in history from a passenger plane.
It was a perfectly clear shot. In my video, you know, you see the wing of the plane, and then that's it. It's just the sky and the sun. Video is going to be part of my documentary I'm making about Southern Illinois, mostly Carbondale, and how they are preparing for the eclipse.
Adams' documentary will lead up to the Great American Eclipse, August 21st, 2017. It's an event that her students are already preparing for.
There's a lot of science involved, and it's a natural phenomenon that doesn't happen that often, and to go right over their school and the area that they live is pretty amazing.
Astronomers say Carbondale will be right in the center of what's called the path of totality, which means a front row seat for the first total solar eclipse to sweep across the United States in nearly 100 years.
Totality is what everyone's just going to be amazed at when it happens in Carbondale. It's just when the moon covers up that last sliver of the sun, and you take off those glasses. That's amazing.
We'll have about 2 minutes and 41.6 seconds of totality right here.
The small town of Makanda sits at the exact center of the path of totality. An orange line goes straight through artist Dave Dardis's shop, pointing the way.
When something ethereal, cosmic comes through an artist's town, you make it real. So this is a real line.
Estimates range from 50 to 100,000 extra sets of eyes heading to Southern Illinois to see the eclipse.
We are preparing for Woodstock, basically.
And Makanda is banking on a boon for local business.
A second total eclipse is going to happen just 7 years later in 2024. And that one will come out of Mexico and head up toward Maine. It's going to cross right over, guess what, Makanda. And so we are the eclipse crossroads of America. So that's our claim to fame.
In Southern Illinois, Carly O'Keefe, Heartland News.
Due to the geometry of the eclipse, Carbondale will have the greatest duration of darkness anywhere in the United States, and Cape Girardeau will be right on the edge of the path of totality, so we should get a good show.
Indonesian solar eclipse, presented by Science at NASA. The forests of Indonesia are homes to one of the richest populations of songbirds in the world. Ecotourists travel from far and wide to listen to them sing from the leafy canopy of the nation's volcanic islands. On March 9, 2016, not long after sunrise, a time when the forest is usually filled with tweets, trills, and warbles, the songbirds of Indonesia will go silent. That is how songbirds respond to a total eclipse of the sun. Eclipse chasers have had the date marked on their calendar for years. It is the only total eclipse of 2016. During the early hours of March 9th, the new moon will pass directly in front of the sun. The moon's shadow will lance down toward Earth, making landfall initially in the Indian Ocean, racing across Southeast Asia, and from there onto the Pacific Ocean, where the eclipse will be partially visible in parts of Alaska, Guam, Hawaii, and American Samoa. Inside the moon's cool shadow, skywatchers can look up and see the sun's ghostly corona, a mesmerizing sight. Sarah Yeagley, solar scientist at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, says, "I cannot stress enough how special solar eclipses are. Eclipses let us see a region of the sun's atmosphere called the corona that is generally invisible to us. We can see the sun's corona from satellites and ground-based observatories using devices called coronagraphs. But we simply cannot build a coronagraph that is as good as the moon passing in front of the sun. The large size of the moon and its distance from us means less stray light from the sun can scatter around the edges and interfere with observations of the sun's faint atmosphere. She emphasizes that the brief glimpses of the corona during total solar eclipses are not to be wasted. The experience of a total eclipse is, however, more than just the sight of the corona. It is also the feel of the moon's cool shadow that lowers air temperatures by as much as 5 degrees Fahrenheit inside the path of totality. And it is the sound of wildlife responding to the odd and unexpected nightfall. Songbirds go quiet. Frogs and crickets replace the birdsong with their own nighttime chorus. Charlotte Vermeulen, a biologist at the Artis Zoo in Amsterdam, Netherlands, says, "Dragonflies hide under a leaf, ants return to their nest, sheep walk back to their sleeping place, cattle egrets return to their nocturnal roost. Diurnal grasshoppers chirp more slowly and then stop." In August 1999, there was a 98% partial solar eclipse in Amsterdam. She recalls many people coming to the zoo during the eclipse just to see the reactions of the animals. On March 9th in Indonesia, totality will last for about 2 minutes, giving humans and wildlife alike plenty of time to react. NASA scientists will be in Indonesia using the eclipse to test a new telescope configuration designed to study the solar corona. The new instrument will be able to observe the temperature and velocity of material in the solar corona, providing information that could help scientists understand the physics of the corona, including how the sun's atmosphere gets so much hotter than its surface. They hope to fly this design in space in the future, but an eclipse on Earth gives them a great opportunity to do some inexpensive testing. This is the last total solar eclipse before the big one next year. On August 21st, 2017, the sun and moon will line up again. This time, the moon's shadow will cross the continental United States, creating a total eclipse in easy driving distance of tens of millions of people. It will likely be the best observed eclipse in human history. If you plan to be one of those eclipse chasers, just remember, there's more than one way to experience an eclipse. See the corona, feel the cool air, listen to the songbirds and other wildlife. The preview begins in Indonesia on March 9th. For more news about solar eclipses, stay tuned to science.nasa.gov.